Welcome back to another video. Apple and I have only been in the US for almost exactly 48 hours and we are jet lagged. We've been spending yesterday and part of today prepping for this Malaysia shipment. Now if you watch the channel, you guys already kind of have a heads up that this was coming and a lot of the stuff that's in it, but some things you guys haven't seen yet. So inspection was supposed to take place this morning at 9:30 and it is now almost 6 p.m. And so we just got home with the shipment. We're going to be unpacking. I am not going to film the actual unboxing because we just don't have time. I have all these orders to fill. I have people coming to pick up and all kinds of stuff. But tomorrow we will go through and show you guys some of the cool stuff that came in the shipment. So hope you guys like the video. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, you guys, let's get into showing you some animals, but I do have to say that we got inundated with sales. We obviously, as you know, have a long waiting list, so we fulfilled a lot of orders, we shipped a lot of orders, but I still have a lot of animals left, so let me give you guys a look. So I'm going to start with this one. This is Rabdophis nigrosynctis. I only have one. This happens to be a female, and she was in our care in the facility for quite some time, feeding really well. She's always been very docile, she's always been chill, and never has had any issues with handling, although we don't hold these guys too much. So frog eater mostly, some lizards, but definitely keys up on movement more than anything else. So it is a very interesting snake for sure, but really cool looking. Might be the only one in the US, probably is. Well, that's a neat looking animal. When they do that with their head and they go side to side, they're actually focusing with their eyes on things. It's their vision is extremely acute, and I believe that when they go side to side, it helps their eyes focus on smaller details like that. It also could be in part that they are trying to sort of camouflage themselves as like a twig or something blowing in the wind, but I think it's more for vision because I see a lot of the visually acute species doing that. It's a very common thing that I see. All right, moving on. So we have a good amount of Boyega niggercepts. This one is going into shed, but this is a big boy. Post shed, you would be able to see an amazing green color on this animal. It almost looks like a natural hybrid between Cyania and regular niggercepts. This dark forest green color. But of course, like I said, it's going into shed. It's in, you can see the eyes are already opaque. But I just wanted to show you guys kind of a bigger example of one of the niggercepts. I will bring out a baby and show you that one next. But the niggercepts are always really easy feeders. These all took frozen thawed rat pups for me already, and then of course the shipping and the meal pushed them right into a shed cycle, but that means that these animals are going to be freshly shed for the super show or for any customers that are interested in them, but they are a really nice animal. So we also have some mini versions of the niggercepts, just little youngsters. This one just ate yesterday, took a fuzzy mouse. So the ones that we will be bringing to the show or offer to sell to anybody, they're going to all be well started. I think I just have one little baby that's a little bit finicky at this time, but the rest are all feeding really well. So really nice. We have captive bred baby Cyania as well. I think I only have 3 right now, and the other 2 are deep in shed, just slightly bigger than this one, but very cool. I do have waiting lists, but a lot of people on the waiting list are choosing to be quiet. I have sold a good amount of animals. Some people on the waiting list are like really aggressive and 100% committed to the animals that they asked to be put on the waiting list for, and other people are a bit soft. Some of them are avoiding responding directly, so I don't really know exactly what's going on. So I always recommend to everybody, if you're interested in any of this stuff, send me your information. I will put you on the list as a backup buyer, but like I said, there's some really soft people out there these days, so I never really know what's going on, but no matter what, we're going to show them. And I do have some captive bred EU animals coming in July in time for the August show. So the stock that I have here now of these, which is quite small, I'll be able to provide a few more animals of these Cyania babies anyway. I have some other bigger animals to show. So these I also have. These are subadult males, two kind of different flavors, I guess you could say. This one has some pattern going on. It also looks like it may be going into shed. It just took a meal yesterday for me. And then this other one here. So very different from each other, but they're nice. And I have this one Benculuensis, basically like a green Trapezii. This is a female. I fed her actually a fuzzy mouse yesterday, which was cool. Just scented, lizard scented fuzzy mouse. So she took it no issue. And that is usually the case with these. They like lizards, but they'll take baby quail and all kinds of different prey. So don't like to do rodents as a primary, like a rodent only diet. I don't think it's good for them, but as part of a varied diet, every so often a fuzzy mouse is a nice nutrition bomb for them. So pretty cool. We have some captive bred baby Boyega melanota mangrove snakes. They were also feeding quite well, but they were in the facility for quite some time, so we already are familiar with the feeding habits and the whole thing of these guys, but they're already well started. And pelturaboa. I think I have only 2 left of these, but they're specialized snail eater, of course, but they're really nice. I hand-picked the really weird looking ones. I'm shipping some of these out on Monday, but like I said, I think I have 2 left. Probably won't make it in time for the show. Probably won't last, but you never know. I have a pretty good amount of captive bred baby Gonya soma. This one just ate a fuzzy yesterday, of course, so I'm not going to hold it too much, but I wanted to show you this one because it's really interesting. When it hatched out, it had these white marks here, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. There's a less definite one on this side, on the right side, but on the left side it's like a full-on white mark there. It's quite interesting. So the last one I showed you, that's one of the more recent clutches. This one is from the first clutch. I have Gonya soma babies from 5 different clutches. So obviously the number 1 clutch is the oldest and the number 5 clutch is the youngest. So this one has a few more meals in it than the others do, a little bit bigger, but they grow quite fast once they start feeding. I haven't sexed them yet, but I think I have something like 13 or 14 babies. The waiting list on these is actually quite short. And again, like I said, a lot of people are just choosing to be quiet. But as I get down my list and I start contacting people, I will know for sure what the availability is looking like. So if you're interested, just send me a message. I'll add you on the list and then we'll kind of see how it turns up from there. So I have about half a dozen of these Pattaya fusca. This is the smallest one. I'm going through feeding trials. This one is eating fantastic on house geckos so far. And I think this one actually is sold, but again, I'm not sure, you guys. So if you're interested, send me a message. This one is quite a bit bigger than the baby I just showed you. Again, they're an arboreal snake. They're super visual. They like to go up. And this one's obviously trying to get up on this stuff, but I'm not gonna let it. So Pattaya's fusca. Actually, I recognize this one from the facility video that we did back in, oh, I think this was from the one that we did back in February when we were in the facility. They all have a little bit of a different color. They're not all like brown like this. They have different color schemes, but this one's the brownish phase, I guess you'd say. So we have some Boyega synodon, just a few. This happens to be a female. She ate frozen thawed chick already for me. And this is another one. I have a guy on my waiting list. He said he wanted her along with a whole bunch of other stuff. I haven't heard back. I'm not getting any definite answers, so I'm not really sure if I'm supposed to be holding it or what. So I think I'm probably just going to be considering this animal available at this point. I don't have a lot of these anyway to go around, so very nice animal. I have a cool small one I'll show you next, and then I have a really interesting one I'll show you after that. So here's a really cool small one, just a little youngster. This animal is actually sold to one of my Patreon members, but I just wanted to show you. When they hatch out, they're usually more like, their primary color is more like a gray, kind of like a slate gray color. They don't have a lot of color when they hatch out normally, but the color comes in later. So this one is kind of just at that stage where it's starting to get some of maybe the yellows, the golds, different colors coming in. But it's still very attractive even at this small size. So I got a picture from Malaysia from my facility manager of this animal, and it looked super nice and unique in the photo. It just looked orange though. It was an indoor photo. When I got this animal and unpacked it, I was really blown away because it actually is kind of a reddish pink color. So I think this animal is going to make its way back to Malaysia to our facility because it just seems like it would add so much to our potential leucistic project, and we have a couple different flavors of synodon, but this one is amazing looking. I was really blown away. I posted it on Instagram, I posted it on Facebook. Nobody sent me a message saying like they wanted it or whatever, so if they did, I'd be committed to that customer to have to sell it, but because nobody committed to it, I think I'm going to keep it, and it's going to fly back to Malaysia at the end of August. But that is a really unique animal. So these are really small and difficult to manage for handling. They're very fast, kind of nervous animals, but these are mock vipers. And I think I have 3 available, maybe 4, I'm not sure. I know one is shipping out on Monday, I believe. So not a very common offering at all. And these are fed already on house Keckels for me. So another one I have is a Ridley Eye, a cave-dwelling rat snake. This is wild caught from Cameron Highlands. Now I know that doesn't sound like a great thing, but in the hobby, Ridley Eye are pretty much all captive bred. And probably for the ones that aren't, I don't know how these people are getting locality information on their animals because they aren't close to the source like I am, or they definitely are not the source like I am. So this looks like a female. I'd have to probe to be sure, but it definitely looks girl to me. And we've had this one in the facility for quite a while, almost probably going on a year already. Excellent eater, growing fast, really neat animal. And if you approach her, or him, her I think, gently and don't, just like all beauty rat snakes, if you come at them a little bit too fast or too aggressive, they get all defensive. But if you don't, they're nice and placid, usually. This one is anyway. So these are Borneo cat geckos, dorsalis, and I have 2.2. that are not spoken for. I'm going to bring them to the July show, to the Super Show. These have been in captivity in the Malaysia facility for like a year and a half. So they're very solid, established animals. And at the time when I was making selections, I tried not to select any animals that were carrying eggs, but it's possible that there may be some eggs. Yeah, that almost looks like eggs right there. So, but we're not going to hold any of these animals back waiting for them to lay. So they are available. 2.2. And we have captive bred Pulchellus, Surdidactylus pulchellus. The two larger ones are clutch mates, and then we got the youngster. So I think we just have these three only. And we have captive bred baby Consabrinus, Surdidactylus consabrinus. They're actually much faster than they look, so I'm not going to disturb them, but they're all hanging out. So they're very, very beautiful. So captive bred of these guys, this is all I have, however many that is, maybe six or seven. So before I close the video and before I leave the topic of lizards and geckos, earlier this year, we actually made the decision to set up for breeding Malaysian agamid species and Malaysian gecko species. It worked out really, really well because when I was there last month, we saw lots of eggs and we even saw some babies already hatched out. So we are going to be looking for somebody that may be interested in importing those themselves in volume. The market value of those here in the US is actually quite high. I'm seeing some really crazy prices coming from Europe, and people are going through the trouble of importing those animals from Europe into the US. So we are going to be looking for somebody that wants to just take a direct shipment, a good amount, and bring them to market. So if that's something that interests any of you, maybe you're a licensed importer, you're familiar with geckos and lizards, that's your thing, send me a message and we'll talk about it. So that is going to do it for today's video. We just wanted to show you what we got from Malaysia. Later next week, we think we're getting an Indonesia import, and then the weekend after, we're going to be in Anaheim, California at the Reptile Super Show. Usually the week before the shows, we give you guys a show preview, so I'm not really sure how it's going to work out for next Saturday, but it might be a show preview, an Indonesia unboxing reveal video. I'm not really sure. Thank you so much for watching from the US. Take care, you guys.